Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next session of the day, and while we set the stage for the next panel session, in the meanwhile, let me also engage you and tell you what exactly this panel is going to talk about, and then we will be welcoming the esteemed panel members with the big round of applause from all of you. So, coming up next is food safety and testing from detection to source tracing. A very, very crucial subject topic, and for that we have a plethora of panel experts here who are going to talk about this and enlighten all of us. Some of the points of discussion which this panel is going to talk about: the challenges of ensuring food safety and quality, food testing, multiple solutions for complex problems, allergen testing, challenges in water and food testing in India, food lab, the present scenario and the future challenges, and how testing foods in labs increases customer loyalty, protecting customers from any contaminated, modified and unhealthy food, rapid detection, identification and application in surveillance at national level, and application of molecular rapid detection technology in foodborne pathogenic bacterial detection, and many more. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome and introduce the panel members in the order of the sequence, and please help me welcome them with a big round of applause. Joining us first in the panel, Dr. Dheeraj Mishra, Manager Operations, Biscuits Division from Mondelez India Private Limited. A big round of applause to Dr. Dheeraj. Dheeraj, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Ashish, Savita, R&D Head, NDC, Devyani Food Industries Limited, Creambell. A big round of applause to Ashish ji. Ashish ji, welcome to the panel. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Rajesh Kumar Gupta, General Manager, Corporate Quality and Food Safety from Jubilant FoodWorks Limited. A big round of applause to Rajesh ji. Welcome to the panel. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Rajesh K. Gupta, Advisor to Bikanervala International, Delhi. A big round of applause to Rajesh ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Joining next, ladies and gentlemen, in the panel, we have Mr. Vikas Talwar, Deputy Director, Central Licensing, Food Safety Standards Authority of India. A big round of applause to Vikas ji. And now I would like to call on the Honorable Panel Moderator, Ms. Ranjeet Kaur, Head of Scientific Regulatory from Mars, Wrigley. A big round of applause to Ranjeet ji. Welcome to the panel, madam. So, Ranjeet ji, over to you. We have a very powerful panel, eminent people, including you, and expecting a fantastic session from all of you.
Hello. Yeah. I think the expectation set has been really high, so we will cover it up and try to meet the expectation. So I think we all of us know that how food safety and quality is a critical part of food which we eat. And there are various aspects related to it in the complete ecosystem, starting from the farm to the fork. So just like, for example, starting from the farmer's aspect, that a lot of things has to be ensured in order to have a good quality. The way he uses pesticides or heavy metals comes into that particular system, how processes are maintained at the processing level, and then once the processing is done, how it is actually also maintained at the distribution across on the various platforms which is being done, and then definitely getting into that system and ensuring that when it reaches the consumer, it is like a safe food for a consumer to eat. And then learning from those aspects from a consumer in terms of the feedback, certain improvements are put back into the system, right? So we have great, good panels which will be deliberating around the various aspects related to this particular process, right from the way how good practices are done, what are the defined processes from a regulatory end, from a manufacturer's end. So definitely, you can put across your questions at the end, and maybe we can start with the panel discussion. So starting with, I would say, Rajesh ji, related to product food safety and quality. So what are the various aspects which you think that they are related to in terms of testing and ensuring aspect of it?
Thank you, madam. So when it comes to the challenges which we are facing currently in India, the first is lack of awareness. When it comes to the lack of awareness, though regulators are also creating the buzz, the kind of the different training or the awareness program, but somehow those awareness is not reaching out to the ground of the people. I am just taking example of the today's use of newspaper for serving the samosa, serving the bhel puri in the various part of the country. Though FSSAI, the Indian regulator already, the food regulator, I can say, already put up a cross that please don't use those newspaper for serving the food. Still, I can say, you go any nook or the corner of the country, you'll see the people are using those, even knowing the danger of those usage of the newspaper. Similarly, if you'll see the ripening process, the maximum usage of the carbide into the ripening of the banana, be it the mangoes. So the first is, I can say, the awareness, and second one is the infra. The infra is also a concern in our country. Like, we don't have the adequate number of ripening chambers or the facilities across the country, which in turn will help to provide the natural or the kind of ethylene ripened fruits basically. So we are bound to eat and I can say 95% the beet mangoes or the bananas sold into the Indian market are ripened by carbide only. Whether it's allowed or not allowed, that's a different, the aspect. So even people are knowing it's carcinogenic, even though people are consuming, because they don't have option available. And when it comes to the options, the cost is getting increased. The same banana which we are buying from the Safal or the similar kind of retail outlets where they are ensuring that's been ripened by the ethylene or the kind of the safe chemicals, it's just double the cost. So we are paying like 60 rupee a kg, while you go into the market, you're able to get the 50 rupee a dozen. And 1 dozen, the banana would be equal to 2 kg or the 1.5 kg. So rate is also a concern. When it comes to we are talking about the challenges. Apart from that, the urbanization, the rapid urbanization in our country. Again, the creating a challenge. Why so? Because people are not having time to cook the food, and they are bound to take the ready-to-eat foods either or the prepared food from the market, which are usually, though if you go to the big eateries or the restaurant, they might be in position to serve the food into the food-safe containers. But when it comes to the small eateries or the roadside thelas, they are packing those food into those plastic bags or the containers. Even they are not aware about the safety, what kind of packaging material they are using and what risk that pose to the consumer. So these are the certain, the challenges we do have when it comes to the food safety. And the only solution I can say, though there are multiple options available, which in turn will combat those risks, but if we are aware, we are able to create awareness among our society, would help to minimize at least 50% challenges what we do have, or the risk what we do have. Yeah.
Thank you. I think you really touched that point of awareness, because sometimes I think due to unawareness, it is not the intentionality of that person, to pass on that thing in the food chain. But since he's not aware of it, I think that's where maybe we need to create those platforms, because in the various stages of food, right from the production, processing, distribution, consumption, or even waste and loss, I think a lot of aspects are related to it. And the major one is related to allergen. So maybe I would request Ashish to deliberate a little bit specifically related to allergen, because that's a field which
Hello.
a lot of us are unaware, and it is also a very critical one. So Ashish, if you can elaborate on allergen.
Yeah. So first I would like to thanks to Sinex for this invitation and this opportunity. Yeah, of course, the food allergen is an emerging issue for the globally, because it is affecting around 5% population globally, and 8% population is the children, which is the below 5 years. Surely it is a major issue in upcoming days, because in this era, when a person is consuming your food, if you are not correctly declaring your allergen information on your label, and the person who eat your product and get a sickness, so he will or they will report to the concerned authorities, and it will spoil your image. So first of all, we need to understand what is the allergy and what are the allergen. So as per the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, allergy is a adverse effect which triggers in your body when you eat or ingested any kind of food that can trigger an immune response in your body. So if we talk about the allergies on global level, on globally Codex on different platforms considered the allergy, and since 1993. After that, they generally regularize it in 1999, and then there is some addition on biotechnology level ingredient in 2001. Then 2003, they added a milk protein in it. After that, 2003, then now, before 2020, allergen declaration in India was the voluntary basis. If you are adding any kind of allergen which can cause an allergy to a person, you can voluntarily write on your label. But after 2020, FSI is regularized it, and then they identified 8 allergen which you have to or you should mention on your label when you are making your food for the market. So what are those allergen? Totally 8 allergen they have identified. That cereal which is containing gluten, like barley, spelt, oats, and the wheat, of course. So generally oats does not contain this gluten because of the climatic condition and harvesting conditions. There is a chances of the cross contamination. That's why they are identified as a cereal containing gluten. After that, the crustaceans, fish and fish products, egg and egg products, milk and milk products. If you are adding any kind of milk derivative in your product, like sodium caseinate, milk protein, MPC, WPC, then you should write on your label it contains milk. No need to specify the ingredient. You just write it contains milk, so that consumer can easily understand that product has a milk component. So after that, peanuts is there. If we talk about the total 8, peanuts is mentioned in the codex as a allergen, and sulfide is not there in codex. They regularize it in the food safety and regulation, but in India, sulfide is in allergen. After that, if we go for the next in the allergen, that I have seen in the market that there are a lot of product which is claiming the gluten free. So what is the norms for the gluten free? If you are adding 20 mg per kg gluten in your product, then you can claim it gluten free. So if we talk about on a global level, then there is a lot of countries who has their own cutoff for the gluten-free products, like Canada, US. They have a cutoff of 20 because they are following the Codex Alimentarius. But in Argentina, it is 10 ppm, and in Chile, New Zealand, and Australia, it is 3 ppm. It is a very debatable topic if we taking it as a allergen. If a product has a if gluten protein, it is considered as an allergen. In India, we are saying if you are adding 20 mg per kg gluten, then you can write a gluten-free. If a person who has an allergy and taken those products, so we can't predict how much mild, moderate, or severe reaction he will face, because allergen work as an antigen, and a body who is taking it has an allergy will react differently, because there's so many research on that basis. They have decided that 20 ppm is still a person has an allergy like celiac disease, and if he take a gluten content product, although it is in a 1 ppm or 2 ppm, he will definitely feel a discomfort on your health. So we talk about the gluten now. We can take in a market the vegan products. Lots of companies have started doing vegan products, even though some customers who has a lactose intolerance, so they are going for the vegan products. So if you are declaring your allergen on your label, on your label precisely, or identify your allergen, then you can mitigate the possibility of the allergic reaction into the customer. Of course, a customer doesn't understand what you are adding in your product. So for the label declaration, there might be some other cross contaminations also, like if you are going, if you are taking a product from the vendor side, if there is any chance of cross contamination of some other allergen, then you may write on label, it may contain and so and so. So this is the bit addition in FSSAI, although on global level there are so many other allergens also, like mushroom, mustard, and so many. So it's a initial phase for us. So definitely it will give a consumer some help to select their product.
Thank you. I think very critical aspect related to food safety of allergen, because I think sometimes we are not aware of the fact that with what I am allergic to, right? So we also need to have that awareness that what we are allergic to. Like for example, peanut is mentioned, but I think as Indians, we do consume a lot of peanut. So maybe certain times the Western data or information has to be customized as per to the Indian population need and impact. I think that's a very, very critical point related to allergen, but it's an evolving science altogether. As he mentioned about that, only in 2020 that it became mandatory to mention on the food label. But now educating the consumer about it, that, you know, they have to read it, know about it, whether they're allergic or not, it's still like something which has a long way to go on. So thanks, Ashish, for mentioning on that. So maybe moving to another challenge, which is related to testing of water, and also to the other processes itself which are involved in the food chain. So I would request Rajesh Kumar Gupta ji if he can elaborate a little bit more on the challenges aspect related to food safety and quality. Rajesh ji.
Thank you, madam, and good noon to everyone. See, the topics which has been already elaborated and covered, and the regarding the food safety and the quality, water is a very important role in any of the product, whether it is directly or indirectly, and used in the making the finished product. So here the quality of the water, there are several standards which has been defined by the BIS and also the FSI regulatory compliances. They have actually given a direction that this should be followed by the standard 10500, or this is to be done once in a 6 months, so that the things are in a place. And to make sure there are certain parameters which has been defined, they are to be tested. And of course that covers chemical, microbiological, and then residual pesticides, heavy metals, and the whole chain is there. The only thing is that when we go for the testing, there was an complex issue. If we go for the testing of the horizontal parameters, in general the FBOs, they were scared of, because the testing charges for whole the thing is having a lot of impact, and doing twice in a year. So they were having some difficulties. So here the requirement is this: if we have to do it, either we should have our own lab to get it tested. It has to be NABL accredited and perhaps FSI recognized. So the water role is one, but if I take the other side of this food safety, there are the three main parameters. One, if we go for the residual pesticides, then heavy metals, and the microbiology. Now the pesticides part is which comes from the crop. You can say the farmers or the growers, they have a mentality that if we use this pesticide, this will yield into a better crop. This will be having more, the production. That's why this goes on. Sometimes this use goes on the higher side than the level. The second thing is, when the plants because of the regular uses, they become resistant to those pesticides, and that also results into increase of the doses. This may be because of the non-education or the not awareness, or you can say by the ignorance. So all these things, when they are going into the plants, and then ultimately it increases the level, and we make the finished product or the product after processing. So we lack into the actual, or you can say the maximum permitted limit of the FSI, or you can say from the regulatory, or we are driving from the either Codex or from FDA for this thing. So this is the one thing. The other would be to eradicate whatever the raw material we are buying or we are using in the plant or the process. It should be first tested and screened, and then it should be selected that the things are within permission limits, so that our end product does not get rejected or does not fall out of the range of the norm prescribed. Now the second comes the heavy metals. The heavy metals also are the great source of the contamination. They are very harmful, just like arsenic, cadmium, or the copper. So these things are very much coming through your industrial waste, or which is being disposed. And that's why any industry, either paper or milk or dairy, so they are all supposed to treat their water before actually disposing of the environment, because it pollutes this environment, as well as the water disposed so goes to the field, and it has an impact on the soil, and as well as the environment. So that increases. So here also the thing comes, whatever the standards have been defined, the products or the raw material used, they are taken first into that testing, and then only they are used. The third part comes the microbiological aspect. The microbiological aspect is more or less related to the plant processing. See, the first two parts were related to the crop or the field or the soil or the water which is used in irrigation or for the crop growing. And there also the testing is important, but as far as the pesticides and heavy metal testing, it is involving a lot of money in testing and getting it done. So more or less, the FSI or the research organization, they are working to find out a economical way of testing, and it was the reliable and dependable and with a shorter span of time. So this is one of the challenge that we are going through, and that's why sometimes we know some of the things, but we could not perform, we could not detect in absence of the proper reliable sources, and as well as the involving a huge cost. The third, which I am talking about, the microbiological, so this starts, you can say, it comes from the, if we talked about, for example, the dairy, the things which are coming from the chilling center or the milk collection and then coming over here. So this is very highly sensitive. So there everything starts from that point. But for the rest of the things, when it reaches to the production house, or you can say the production manufacturing facility, so there are also a lot of addition takes place if there is not a proper hygienic or the personal conditions they are maintained throughout, either inside the plant or the person who are working in the handling, then after making and packing, and then it comes through the transportation, because anything which is made is being transferred from one part of the country to another. So it requires a lot of logistic and the temperature control, and as well as because India is having a very variable tropical condition in north, south and east. So the product behavior and the keeping quality and their the taste and texture, that all is getting affected. So when we just think about these things, this will be having a major control on our factory or the manufacturing, right from the quality control, testing the things and the laboratory and online check or the process check, so that anything which requires a certain temperature and time combination, then it's monitoring, or you can say to the end, the packing. And most possible thing is after packing, and there one point which is almost is ignored, or you can say it is not taken care. The product we have purchased, and after that, suppose the life is given 1 year or it is given 9 months. So this is a life when it is closed, and the concept which has been initiated, and we are taking it, for those progressive changes on the label, so that the customer knows it about. Some of the companies, they are writing कि once you open the product, consume within this much hours or this many days, or keep under these conditions. But what is happening? Suppose we open any pack, we just think this is 9 months or 10 months. So we do not bother about after opening what would be the life and where it should be kept. So these are some of the things which are creating, they need to be created, they need to be conveyed, and I think today consumer is very much aware of those things which are given on the label. But if we really find out, I think those who are in the field, they might be aware of, but generally if you talk of the general persons, I think 50% persons, they do not see the label, or you can say if they see the label, they only see from the point of view of the expiry or what is the balance life. So the other thing which are actually displayed have been added. That's one of my colleagues told that the information of the allergen is available on the label, and one can see this is what the product is having. Now the allergen part is concerned, one suppose you are tolerant to lactose, then the milk is this thing. You are tolerant to gluten, this is the product. But there are some of the things which are manufactured in the same premises, so they have a scope of cross contamination. So in that case, there is a very much required to take care that one product is made, then the other product, if it is to be made in the same plant or nearby the facility, then it has to be totally protected from any kind of the cross contamination, because those who are identified for anything, they even traces of that thing if goes, that will be having a lot of problem. I have gotten a living example with me somewhere in Bikanervala. He was tolerant to gluten, and even he has been advised he is not taking the wheat, he is not taking any of the other you say millets or this thing. They are also having 0.2%, 0.5% of the gluten. So once he took by mistake, I think we were together, he took a little bit, it was so much problematic, and we rushed to the hospital, and then 2 or 3 days took it to become recover through it. So these are some of the things which I would like to share with you, whatever the things are happening and how to get a safe food. That is important. That depends upon so many things. But as a consumer, which becomes our responsibility, or we should know it about, even after having those things, how we should preserve, or how should we keep it, how we should use it, and the way it is to be handled after storage. So these are the few of the points which I think it might have actually enlightened your views which you are already having, and anything which you want to, I think we'll actually take it at the end of the panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think elaborating from the farmer's end to the distribution and till the end was, like rightly mentioned, Like I learned about this heavy metals and the farmers aspect, insecticide, pesticides, and then at the processing, and then the consumer awareness. So that is another critical aspect, which is also linked to this challenges. So maybe we have heard a lot about the challenges aspects related to food safety and quality, and also there is a lab, like, from where you try to ensure that what are the thresholds specifically for allergen, what are the processes, just to critically, check on whether we are processing or following the right process or not. So now we have actually Vikas with us from the regulatory body. So I would request him to elaborate a little bit specifically on the food lab testing aspect of it, that from a regulator lens, what is your expectation and how do you define the various processes which are there?
Thank you, Dr. Ranjeet. From the regulator's perspective, we have categorized food testing into three broader categories. One is primary lab, then another is referral lab, and third is reference lab. I would touch upon all these three categories. One is primary, is basically when the food sample or any self-compliance sample goes to that lab for testing and results. In case it is a legal sample and basically drawn by the food safety officer, there is adverse reporting, then any FBO, food business operator, can go for an appeal, then the sample goes for the referral lab. And then third one is the reference lab, that is not concerned with the general public or general business. Basically, these reference labs are for process or testing method validation, proficiency testing, etc. First thing that comes to my mind apart from this is that why food testing? People or stakeholders may have their different answers to these questions, but personally I think that food testing is basically the underlying principle is trust. And now trust can have different meaning for different stakeholders, but ultimately if testing is for the trust only. Means what I as a manufacturer, what I have got, I will get my inputs tested, whether I got the same quality that was assured by my vendors. From the consumer ends, he expects that if the product is tested, it is safe for my consumption, it meets my expectation, because ultimately quality is what the consumer actually or the stakeholder demands. So testing is very important, and there is no denial of this fact. And in India, we have got more than 6 million food business operator registered or licensed. So I must admit this is only a fraction of the total food business in the country, because most of our, like any other economic activities, it is dominated by the informal sector. So testing becomes very significant, as Dr. Gupta has already touched upon, from the microbial, pesticides or heavy metals point of view. But apart from this, it is required for the sustainability of the business also, because I think no business or no meaningful enterprise will want its customers or consumers to fall sick or to have adverse outcomes by consuming their products, because ultimately it is the brand or it is the trust that rules in the market. And to ensure that we have sufficient number of testing labs or sufficient number of, and with the reduced turnaround time, we are continuously working in coordination with the state governments also. We have special schemes for strengthening this testing infrastructure in the country. We are funding them. We are providing them manpower also. We are providing high-end equipments also. And I must admit there is no dearth of funds. We are pumping in billions of rupees just to ensure that the testing comes up to the level of everyone's expectations. And apart from this, we are also working with research institutes so that we are basically continuously working on the testing methods and are agile enough to meet the regulatory changes or the changes happening in the market. Because ultimately, another aspect of testing is that it is science-based. It is a scientific enterprise. So it has to evolve through the times. So we are continuously working on it, and we have increased over the past few years, we have increased our capacity a lot. And we are having more than 250 NABL and FSSAI notified labs, primary lab across the country. But there are some challenges, as my co-panelist has touched upon. One factor is cost. And another from my side is that the quality of testing also. Means it has to be reliable, it has to be reproducible. Means because ultimately it is a science, and if from the regulatory side it will go for the challenges or testing, and even for the customer side also. It should not happen that the same one part of the sample reported by one lab is revealing something and another part is revealing something, because this is not only absurd, but it is also not acceptable from everyone's perspective. So we are continuously working on it, and I think as the scale of testing from the self-compliance side or from the regulatory side comes up, increases, the cost will come down, obviously. But we should not expect that the cost will come to means at a penny level. It is not that, because every quality itself has a cost, and testing is an ingrained part of the quality. So there must be some de minimis. Below that, we cannot expect, because otherwise it will compromise with the integrity of the system. So we are taking care of all these things, and we are continuously working on it. Thank you, Dr. Ranjeet.
Thank you, Vikas. So I think on the lab aspect, what you have mentioned, and the trust factor. So I think that is where the consumer trusts everyone, whether it is a regulator, whether it is a manufacturer, or whether it is anyone who is involved in this complete chain of farm to fork, right? So rightly mentioned on that part of it. So, but we also know that, evolution is happening everywhere, whether it comes to technology, whether it comes to food safety, quality, or, the testing methods which is there. So maybe I will ask Dheeraj if he can explain a little bit about the online testing which is there, or the certain future techniques which are being used in this area of food safety and quality. Dheeraj.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjeet. I think this is very nice question and very important, very relevant for every food business operator, what we are operating. Our panel colleague has captured very well that allergen testing facilities available, Mr. Vikas told. So 10 years back, testing facilities were not available, testing infrastructure, we were working, FSSAI came in, then things came in. And then regulation came in, then we evolved. So I think we are definitely on right track. So always things comes basis the need. So once need comes, then innovation happens. So this is always we have learned since the beginning. So in test, basically now if we distribute this question into two parts, one thing is quality and one thing is food safety. So food safety part is very well covered by many other people. Now, if we talk about quality, so every organization, every company who are in the food business, everybody want to maintain the quality. It is not like that only MNCs are willing to maintain quality and Indian companies are not. There are Indian companies which are more serious about quality than anybody else. So first thing, we need to get out of the myth that only MNCs are focused, Indian companies are not. So, right, we are in India and we are very well focused. What only challenge is, several times we are not in position to maintain because of certain small things, right? So what we need to do, we need to create an infrastructure which can link all my small things and give us the right end product. In the morning, Rockwell Automation, they covered in their presentation very well how IoTs, how sensors, how things are working for maintaining quality. I'm giving a simple example. 10, 15 years back, we were not having metal detectors online. We were not having checkwares. We were not having X-ray machines in food industries. Now I think everybody is having. All companies are having metal detectors, all are having checkwares, all are having X-ray machines. So now need comes, because 10, 20 years back, we were not eating biscuit, we were not eating bread for our daily food. These were luxury items. Now, these are necessity, because we are finding bread as a replacement of bread. So once things are coming, need is coming, we are evolving. So, and the most important thing, country like India, we are evolving very fast. Unlike any other country, we are evolving very fast. In 2006, I joined a training program. One of my corporate food safety, global food safety lead, madam told that In other countries, allergy is like that, that somebody is eating peanut in one train compartment and other train compartment person falls sick or they impacted. In India, this allergen bird came 10 years back, and now every company is declaring allergen on label, and awareness is increasing, social media, people, everybody is now talking about allergen. Everybody knows allergen. So what we need to do, we need to shift ourselves. Since start from the beginning, when we are commissioning plant, we need to create right infrastructure to link. We need to maintain our process quality first. Food safety part is sometime ingredient based, trust based, regulation based, that is something. So how people will trust? Once we will be able to maintain quality, we need to maintain consistency. So quality is majorly consistency. If you are eating one biscuit today, you are eating one biscuit tomorrow, you are eating after 1 month, you are getting consistent product. Then we can say this is my process parameters are maintained. So how we will maintain? We will install monitoring systems, and now we are in digital age. So we need to integrate this, all our process parameter to the digital network. And then we need to analyze data. Then basis data, we can decide whether we are in position to maintain or not. So what will happen? So now things are available. Traceability, so earlier traceability, we were saying 24 hours, if we are tracing to the source, it is world class standard. Then things came in, 4 hours is world class. Then things came in, 1 hour is world class. Now we are talking about real-time traceability. So every single minute, you can trace what material we are using, from where we are receiving, and what are the source, what are the report, what are the contaminants. So everything. So we need to work on that kind of infrastructure, and then I think things will serve our purpose. In microbiology also, so in the morning, Mr. Naresh was giving presentation in microbiology. It was taking 14 days, 10 days, 7 days, 24 hours, 72 hours. Now, DNA detection kits, cytometric flow meters, these things are available. So you can do that real-time monitoring or very short-time monitoring. So maybe cost may be slightly higher now, but over a period of time, once scale come, volume come, these cost will also come down, and we will get these things very early. So that is the thing I would say.
Thank you. I think you rightly mentioned about data, because data is the buzzword right now, that everything, but it has to be science-based, because certain times with an evolution, we have to be fast-paced, but also the social media and everything is evolving also at a very fast pace. So whenever something is related to food safety and quality, always rely on data and also rely on the science-based evidence which is there. But certain times, we just go and just see one thing, and then we just try to, find more about it and create like a conflict and misinformation around it. So I think the panel really touched upon the various aspects, ranging from the evolution, from the allergen aspect of it, and also like from the water, the testing, the lab. So I think if anyone wants to ask anything to the panel, because we are already out of time now, and we don't want to be in between of the good quality and safe food and ourselves as a panelist, but definitely we have a scope for 1 or 2 questions. So if anybody... So I would just request, just introduce yourself and ask the question. And just specify to whom you want the answer to be.
Thank you, Ranjeet ji. And before we begin the questions, I think a big round of applause to this wonderful panel here on food safety and testing, from detection to source tracing, and very eminent panel members, and wonderfully moderated by Ranjeet ji. So yes, we open, in the interest of the time, maybe 1 or 2 questions, and I request the audience to kindly keep it short. Of course, I mean, the eminent panel members are available after the session, so you can always take your questions with them. But let us try to have 2 quick questions. And as I think Ranjeet ji said, please introduce and specific to your topic and which panel member you want the question to be. If it is a generic one, I think Ranjeet ji, you would be the right person to guide accordingly. So yes, yes sir.
Good afternoon, everybody, and honorable members. My first question is about food safety. every panel and every food business operators, whenever task about food safety, they start from one sentence, farm to fork. It is my humble request to food safety standard authorities, our government increase the double income for farmers by using any method, but they are using fertilizers, pesticides to grow more crops. Their impact, the traces will come in food, either water or crops. We are belongs from dairy industry, is necessary food for infant or either old age or patient. मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ, एक डॉक्टर की नेग्लिजेंसी से एक पेशेंट मरता है, प्लीज़ माइंड नहीं करने का इसको, लेकिन हम लोगों की नेग्लिजेंसी से स्लो पॉइजन देते हुए हम बहुत लोगों को मार रहे हैं ड्यू टू नेग्लिजेंसी ऑफ अवेयरनेस. तो मैं अथॉरिटीज़ से ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ या उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाह रहा हूँ कि इस बारे में हम थोड़ा सा करें, क्या कि हम अपनी क्रॉप्स को डबल तो करें लेकिन पेस्टिसाइड की ओर ना जाके या फर्टिलाइजर्स को मिनिमाइज यूज़ करते हुए करें, ताकि हमारे प्रोडक्ट में इधर वाटर हमारा मैक्सिमम सोर्स है प्रोडक्ट को तैयार करने के लिए. सेकंड, ये जो हम स्पाइसेस यूज़ करते हैं, मेरा लाइव एक एग्जांपल भी है, मैंने उसमें पार्टिसिपेट भी किया था. टर्मरिक जो हम लोग यूज़ करते हैं, स्पाइसेस घरों के अंदर करते हैं, उसमें सभी को पता है फूड इंडस्ट्रीज़ में जो भी इन्वॉल्व है कि हल्दी है, उसमें एक मेटानिल येलो कलर से उसकी कोटिंग की जाती है, दैट इज़ कार्सिजोनिक. और जितनी भी फूड इंडस्ट्रीज है जो स्पाइसेस बना रही हैं, चाहे आइदर चिप्स या जो भी हैं, सब उनको यूज़ करती हैं, लेकिन उसमें अगर कार्सिजोनिक मटेरियल यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो गवर्नमेंट को और हम फूड बिजनेस हैंडलर्स को चाहिए कि इन चीज़ों को बैन करें, अवेयर रहें. सेकंड क्वेश्चन मेरा जाता है कस्टमर्स के लिए, ये रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी गवर्नमेंट की ना हो के, हमारे फूड बिजनेस ऑपरेटर्स की ना हो के, सबकी जॉइंट एफर्ट्स है कि कंज्यूमर भी अवेयर रहें. हम कोल्ड चेन को मेंटेन करते हैं प्रोडक्ट को इंडस्ट्रीज में बनाने के लिए, फार्म टू फोर्क, हम फिर वही अप्लाई करते हैं फार्म टू फोर्क कि कस्टमर तक हमारा प्रोडक्ट सेफ जाए. लेकिन रिटेलर्स के या डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स के बीच में कोल्ड चेन कहीं मेंटेन नहीं की जा रही है, इस वजह से वो प्रोडक्ट स्पॉइल होता है. रेस्पॉन्सिबल कौन होगा? मैन्युफैक्चर. तो मैं ऑनरेबल जज से ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ, इस बारे में थोड़ा टॉपिक करें, हम सेफ्टी की ओर करें, किस तरह से हम कर सकते हैं. मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन हो रहा है, जितनी भी NABL लैब्स आप लोगों ने उनको परमिट की है, लाइसेंसिंग दी है, तो कुछ लैब तो इस तरह की है, मैं अगर अलाउ करें तो उनका नाम भी ले सकता हूँ, उनकी सर्टिफाइड लीड ऑडिटर हूँ मैंने उनका देखा था कि जो प्लेटिंग माइक्रोबायोलॉजी करते हैं, वो ब्लैंक प्लेट्स मिली मुझे वहाँ पर ऑडिटिंग के टाइम में. जब उनको पता लगा कि ये ऑडिट कर रहे हैं, तब मैंने पूछा कब आपने इसकी प्लेटिंग की है और उसमें डेट क्या है. तो मुझे बड़ा ऑड लगा कि किस तरह आपको सर्टिफिकेशन मिला है और आपने अपनी लैब को आगे मूव कर रहे हैं. तो प्लीज़ अथॉरिटीज़ से मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है, थोड़ा हम इस और भी थोड़ा अपना फोकस करें. थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir. Ranjeet ji, any particular?
I think, yes, the points which has been mentioned will be well taken care. So maybe if I'll just ask Vikas if we can just put that to.
बहुत बड़े आई वुड से कि बहुत वाइडर टॉपिक्स आपने टच किए हैं, बट पार्शली कहीं ना कहीं आपके सवालों में ही आपके जवाब हैं, है ना, जितना मुझे समझ में आया. आई हैव बीन टू डिफरेंट कंट्रीज़ ऑल्सो. मैं WHO का इन्फोसान का इमरजेंसी कॉन्टैक्ट पॉइंट भी हूँ इंडिया के लिए. तो जब मैं दूसरी कंट्रीज़ को देखता हूँ तो इंडिया इज़ नॉट द मिरर इमेज ऑफ डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज़. हमारे चैलेंजेस हमारे अपने हैं, हमारी लिगेसी हमारी अपनी है, क्योंकि अनलाइक वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज़ हमें क्लीन स्लेट नहीं मिली है. हमें एक बहुत लंबा अरसा मिला है कि जब हम सप्रेस थे, ओप्रेस थे, बहुत यंग नेशंस में आते हैं, बट बहुत बड़ी हिस्ट्री के साथ आते हैं. तो जैसे मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ इज़राइल का, जो फूड बिजनेस लेवल पे प्रॉब्लम आती है कि सपोज उसने कुछ बनाया या उसने कोई प्रोडक्ट बनाया, उसमें पेस्टिसाइड आ गया जो उसने नहीं डाला है, बट ही विल बी हेल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल. क्यों? क्योंकि अभी इसलिए है कि हमारे एक्ट में ये प्रोविज़न है कि जो फार्मर के हाथ में प्रोड्यूस है वहाँ पर ये एक्ट अप्लाई नहीं होता है. सो दिस इज़ ए सेगमेंटल अप्रोच, इट हैज़ सर्टेन लीगेसी. उसका कारण पॉलिटी भी है, क्योंकि हम एक फेडरल गवर्नमेंट है. इसी के अगेंस्ट में मैं अगर आपको इजराइल का एग्जांपल दूं, तो इजराइल में क्या है, वो फार्म का जो ये प्रोड्यूस है ये कभी आगे तक जा ही नहीं पाता खेत से, वो वहीं डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाता है, क्योंकि वहाँ एक होमोजीनियस पॉपुलेशन है, दे आर मोर सेंसिटिव अबाउट देयर इकोनॉमी एंड देयर ट्रस्ट, उन्हें पता है कि हमारा सारा एग्रीकल्चर एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड है, और अगर हम, और वो भी स्पेशली ईयू को, जिनके कई बार यूरोपियन यूनियन के बहुत सारे डिसीजन हमको ट्रेड बैरियर की तरह लगते हैं, टेक्निकल बैरियर्स टू ट्रेड, तो लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम हर एस्पेक्ट पे काम हो रहा है, ऐसा कोई एस्पेक्ट नहीं है, इवन जो लैब का भी आपने टच किया, जहां हमारी लिस्ट है अगर आप देखेंगे 250 प्लस की लैब की, वहीं नीचे 37 वो लैब की लिस्ट भी है जो सस्पेंडेड है, ठीक है, तो 37 इज़ अ बिग नंबर विज़ावी 250। तो बट अल्टीमेटली जो आपने कहा वही वाली बात है कि इस पूरा सिस्टम सबकी साथ में ही चलता है। अगर आपने ये प्लेट्स डिटेक्ट करी तो नेचुरली किसी और ऑडिटर ने ऑडिट सर्टिफिकेट देने के टाइम पे वो देखा होगा, बट ही इग्नोर्ड इट, क्योंकि कोई भी बिजनेस का कल्चर या लैब का कल्चर एक दिन में चेंज नहीं होता, डेवलप भी नहीं होता है ना। तो किसी ने सर्टिफिकेशन के टाइम पे इंटीग्रिटी से कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ किया, आप इंटीग्रिटी वाले थे तो आपने पॉइंट आउट किया, ठीक है। तो बट अल्टीमेटली वही है, लास्ट ईयर का थीम था FAO का कि फूड सेफ्टी इज एवरीवन्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, इस बार का भी वही है कि लीव नो वन बिहाइंड। तो बट हर एस्पेक्ट पे काम हो रहा है, नेचुरल फार्मिंग पे भी हो रहा है, बट स्लोली थिंग्स चेंज करती हैं इंडिया में, बिकॉज हमारी कोई रेवोल्यूशनरी हिस्ट्री नहीं है, वी ग्रो एंड डेवलप बाय इवोल्यूशन, एंड इवोल्यूशन इज अ स्लो एंड टाइम टेकिंग प्रोसेस, बट थिंग्स आर डेफिनेटली चेंजिंग एंड कमिंग अप टू द लेवल। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू विकास।
इसमें एक चीज़ मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ, बिकॉज एवोल्यूशन, हाउ एवोल्यूशन कम, the main solution for the change is the competition. We can see our history. I can give you example of this phone. 10 year or 15 year back, who can afford a mobile phone in 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees? No, कोई नहीं सोच सकता था हम 1 लाख रुपए का मोबाइल खरीदेंगे, उससे बट गोल्ड खरीदेंगे। नाउ मोबाइल इज़ अ नेसेसिटी। आप 1 लाख का मोबाइल आराम से खरीद सकते हैं, बिकॉज आपको पता है कि अब ये नेसेसिटी हो गया, इसके बिना जीना मुश्किल हो जाएगा। सो ऐसे ही जब इंडस्ट्रीज़ में एवोल्यूशंस आता है, कॉम्पिटिशन्स बढ़ता है, तो पास वाले को देख के दूसरा सीखता है, एंड दे इम्प्लीमेंट दोज इम्प्लीमेंटेशन एट देयर हाउसेज और देयर फैक्ट्रीज। सो दिस competition is running now in India, and when the foreign companies and foreign investors indulge with the India, so this competition, I can say that if we think about the other countries, the revolution is very slow there, but in India it is very fast. You can viral a single method within 2 or 3 days. Everybody understand the capacity and capability of the India, so that I would say that the competition is the major factor for the change. It will happen. अगर हम किसी को बोलेंगे कि इसको पेस्टिसाइड डालने दो या इसको मत डालने दो, आप सिर्फ एक काम कीजिए, एक बंदे को आप बोल दीजिए कि भाई ये पेस्टिसाइड नहीं डालेगा, मैं इसको 2 रुपये ज़्यादा दूंगा, आप देखिए मार्केट में क्या होता है। तो वो सारे फार्मर्स स्टार्ट कर देते हैं फिर। तो उस तरह का कुछ रूल जब आ जाएगा ना, तो वो अपने आप ही हो जाएगा, कुछ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती।
Thank you so much.
I think
Thank you so much, panel members, and thank you so much for answering the question. A big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel. And I would request the panel members to kindly be seated. Would like to call on stage Ms. Meenu Bansal from Merck Life Sciences. Can we have Meenu on stage, please? Thank you so much, Meenu, for doing the honors. Welcome to the stage. We'll start the felicitation with Dr. Dheeraj Mishra from Mondelez India Foods Private Limited first. A big round of applause, Dr. Dheeraj Mishra from Mondelez India Foods Limited. Thank you so much, Dheeraj ji, for your contribution to the panel. Moving next to Mr. Ashish Savita from Devyani Foods Industries Limited, Creambell. A big round of applause for Ashish Savita from Devyani Foods Industries Limited for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Rajesh Kumar Gupta from Jubilant FoodWorks Limited. big round of applause to Mr. Rajesh Kumar Gupta from Jubilant FoodWorks. Thank you so much, Rajesh ji, for your contribution. Moving next to Mr. Rajesh K. Gupta from Bikanervala International, Delhi. A big round of applause for Rajesh ji for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Vikas Talwar, Deputy Director Central Licensing from Food Safety Standard Authority of India. A big round of applause for Mr. Vikas Talwar from FSSAI. Thank you so much, Vikas ji, for your contribution. And now our honorable panel moderator, Ms. Ranjeet Kaur, Head Scientific Regulatory from Mars, Wrigley. A big round of applause to Ranjeet ji. I would now request the panel members if you could come forward for a group photograph, and Minu, if you could also join them. A big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel here on food safety and testing from detection to source tracing. Thank you all panel members for your valuable contribution.